They gave me the paperwork at 11 in the morning, Treaty Garden Standard Time. A woman named Pavresh, senior clerk, Corps Sovereignty Delegation, set the folio on the survey table where I was calibrating a ground peg and said, "You are the last unmatched in the compact delegation. She is the last unmatched in ours. Signed by end of day and the residency clause closes clean." I looked at the folio. It was 3 pages, mostly jurisdictional language. At the bottom of page 2, in a box labeled Party B, someone had written Princess Thesson Corvelli, House Corps Sovereignty, followed by a string of registry numbers and one word in red ink: surplus. "Surplus," I said. Pavresh didn't look up from her tablet. "Past matched window. The pairing is a formality, Mr. Adler. It satisfies the residency compact clause for both delegations. You will not be expected to remain in contact afterward." I asked what the princess thought about it. Pavresh paused, not long, but long enough for me to notice. "The princess has not been consulted on delegation scheduling in some time," she said. "The signing room is through the East Arch. She will be there at 4. She left the folio and walked away. I picked it up and read the word surplus again, folded it under my arm and walked the other direction, toward the garden terrace. The treaty garden was the kind of place they build on neutral ground when two civilizations want to prove they can grow something together. Raised stone beds with flowering shrubs from both jurisdictions. A long terrace overlooking a river valley that belonged to neither side. Warm afternoon light through a glass canopy. It smelled like wet soil, and something sweet I couldn't name. She was sitting on the far bench near the western railing, her hands folded in her lap and her face turned toward the valley. She was taller than I'd expected, even seated. Her shoulders were level with mine standing. Pale silver-gray skin with a faint translucence along her jaw and temples. Dark copper hair in a single long braid over one shoulder. Small pointed ears half hidden by the braid. Her eyes, when she turned them toward me, were amber green and very still. She wore a formal robe, dark blue, high-collared, clean but not new. The kind of garment you put on when your delegation tells you to show up and doesn't say why. I sat down on the other end of the bench. She watched me do it without expression. "Corin Adler," I said, "boundary surveyor. I'm told you're the other half of a clause." She studied me the way you study whether something arriving, no point objecting. "Thesson Corvelli," she said, "princess, though the word carries less weight than it once did." "The folio says surplus." I held it up. "I didn't know they stamped that on people." Her jaw tightened, just barely. "It is a designation. The matched window for a Corps heir closes at 120 standard years. I am 183. The designation was applied 40 years ago. And nobody took it off. Nobody had occasion to." She said it without bitterness, which was worse. It was the voice of someone who'd stopped noticing the label because fighting it required more than she had left. I should have gone to the signing room. That was the sensible thing: sign the paper, satisfy the clause, walk away. Pavresh had said as much. The princess had likely been told the same if they'd told her anything at all. Instead, I asked her what she wanted. She didn't answer right away. I don't think she was deciding whether to trust me. I think she was trying to remember the shape of the question. It had been a long time since anyone had put it to her and waited. The garden was quiet. A maintenance cart hummed somewhere below the terrace railing. One of the flowering shrubs, a core species with broad purple leaves, was dropping petals onto the stone between us. "What I want," she said slowly, "is not a category the delegation tracks. I'm asking anyway." She looked at me, really looked for the first time. Not whether arriving, something closer to attention. "I want," she said, "to walk through that arch at the end of the day and have someone in the room know my name. Not my file number, not the clause, my name." "Thesson." "Yes." "All right, what else?" She blinked. Her amber-green eyes held mine, and something shifted behind them, not tears, not shock, just a door sealed shut for a very long time, opening one careful inch. "No one has ever asked me the follow-up," she said quietly. "First time for everything." She laughed short, surprised, a sound from somewhere deep and rarely used. It changed her whole face. The formal composure cracked open, and what was underneath was warm, sharp, and caught off guard. She sat up straighter, not out of ceremony but out of something that might have been interest. "I want to know," she said, "why a boundary surveyor is sitting on a garden bench asking a surplus princess what she wants, when the signing room is 60 steps through that arch and the clause closes at sundown." "Because the clause didn't ask you," I said, "and I thought someone should." She was quiet again, but it was a different kind of quiet. The first silence had been the stillness of a woman who'd stopped expecting anything. This one was the silence of someone reconsidering. We talked for 2 hours. The light shifted on the glass canopy and the purple petals collected on the stone between us. She told me about the matched window, a core social structure that gives heirs a span of 100 years to form an alliance partnership, after which they are reclassified. Administrative nonentities. Surplus. She'd carried the word since before I was born. I told her about boundary surveying, measuring the edge of someone else's territory, year after year, making sure the line sits where it's supposed to. She asked if I ever felt like I lived outside every border I drew. I said yes, every single one. She asked me what I wanted. Nobody had asked me either, not in that way, not expecting the answer to carry weight. I told her I wanted to do one useful thing today that wasn't printed on a form. She looked at the petals on the stone, then at the valley, then at me. Her eyes were full, not crying, just holding something that had been empty for a long time and was now, very carefully, filling. The afternoon light caught the translucence along her jaw and turned it warm. She held my gaze and said nothing, and the nothing said everything I needed to hear. At 4 o'clock, Pavresh sent an aide to collect us. The signing room was ready. The folio was on the table. Both delegations had already gone. They'd filed their portions remotely, because the clause was a formality and no one needed to be present for a joke. We stood in the signing room alone. The folio lay open to page 3, 2 signature lines, one above the other. Above mine it read compact representative, ADLER. See above hers it read surplus asset, KORRVLAT. Thesson looked at the line. Her braid hung over her shoulder. Her hand rested on the table's edge but didn't move toward the pen. "There's a void clause," I said. "Section 9, paragraph 4. Either party may refuse for any reason, and the compact absorbs the gap as an administrative adjustment. They built in an exit because they expected one of us to take it." "You read the entire folio," she said. "I survey boundaries for a living. I read the fine print." "And you are telling me this because?" "Because nobody asked if you wanted to sign. Same reason as the bench." She stood very still. The light in the signing room was institutional, flat white ceiling panels, no warmth in them, but her eyes found the warmth anyway. She looked at the folio, at the word surplus stamped above her name, and then at me. "Corin," she said, "my first name. Not the file, not the clause, just the word spoken carefully as though she were learning the weight of it." "Yes. I would like to sign this," she said, "and I would like you to know it is not because of the clause." I picked up the pen and held it out to her. She took it and signed her name in full, Thesson Corvelli, in a script I couldn't read but recognized as careful, practiced, and long unused. Then she handed the pen back to me, and I signed mine underneath. We stood there for a while, the two of us, in the empty signing room with the folio closed between us and the flat light overhead. I understood that the real signature had happened on the bench 2 hours earlier, when I asked a question and waited for the answer. She folded the braid back over her shoulder. Amber-green eyes, steady now, full of something that had no core designation and no compact clause number and no fine print. Walk me through the arch, she said. I did.